right? So, all right, guys, it's my turn to ask the questions.
Yep.
So question number 1. So coming into the situationship, how aware were you of your past traumas and pain, and how were you or are you actively working on healing them so you don't take that shit out on me?
I think when we met, I was in a good space to meet someone and get to know someone. My previous relationship before you, it was long distance, and so it took a while for me to be emotionally free from that. But when we met, I was ready to meet, and so. And I think I remember telling you that I'm not really ready to be friends. Either we date or we don't do this at all. Because I felt like I was ready for it. And I thought I came knowing what I wanted, and I did lay it out from the beginning. I told you it's either we are doing this or no. And that was my approach. And what I was expecting is that, it is to be with someone that also kind of, there's that, a foundation for trust is honesty. And when I came to you, I was honest from the beginning. It's either I date you or we don't do the dating thing. Mm-hmm. So I think I was confident and I knew what I was looking for, and I laid my cards on the table.
What did being around Ger reveal about you to yourself?
I think I discovered more about me. I didn't know how far I could go emotionally. I discovered that I am very patient to someone that I care about. I am forgiving to someone that I care about. I don't think this has ever occurred to me until our relationship, and so I didn't know that until when we were faced with different situations, sometimes especially dealing with the death of your sister, and that could come up, and so it was just, I didn't know how laid back I could be, and to just be patient and just emotionally and watch and see. It revealed to me how much I can be patient and also forgiving when it comes to someone that I care about, and I discovered that through that experience.
So that was something that was good. Was there anything that you found that was bad?
I think that any man would take pride taking care of a woman, but I think the problem would be taking care of a woman who needs to be taken care of. That's a different story. At some point, that's how it felt like, in terms of emotions, emotion support, and so that's how it felt like on my side. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting. Next question. What was the biggest benefit or gain from being around Ger, and what was the biggest challenge?
I'll start with the challenge. The challenge is anybody who deals with you, they have to have. So it took me a time to figure this out. When you are starving, you are totally a different person. You are, you have to have an energy to deal with that. Mm-hmm. And then when you're chilled, you're good, you're not starving, you're a totally different person. When you have shit to do, you have work to do, you have deadlines to meet, you're a totally different person. So, like I said from the beginning, wear a few hats, and you have to have an energy to match each hat that you are putting on. And the thing about mood, they don't even give you a heads up. They switch up just like that. So I had to be. It took me a while to figure that out and to really see who is this person, who am I dealing with here, and so that was challenging to actually see, to have the energy to match up with each mood that you choose to flip in.
My 16 personalities.
Right. I think that was very challenging to me. That was the most challenging, to flip up the mood, because something will come out of nowhere. Like I think everything is good, but out of nowhere, boom, yo, like, I'm like, yo, I thought you were a few seconds ago.
Wow.
So-
okay, so what was a good part?
The good part is that I enjoyed how you are a very good listener. You listen, and that was very good. I enjoyed that, you know, and also you like to when it comes to your style, your personality, you care about your personality, and you take very good care of yourself. And so to me that was a very good thing to notice, and how well you care about yourself. Sometimes to the long time that we had, the quality time that we spent together, just two of us, and to talk about one another and our experiences. You know, you sharing with me what you believe and what you intend to accomplish. So to me, I think that was the quality time, and also sharing your passion with me.
Cool. All right, next question. Do you think you did an adequate job of being and becoming my friend, my lover, and or my husband?
I can. At a time, I did the best. I think what was best, that I created a space that, you know, you could be able to feel comfortable and feel you can be vulnerable with me, and by doing that, I had to probably assess a few things about you, and I thought creating that space, it was a very important, because that's when we could be able to talk and then share some deep thinking, and I think that was, looking back, I think I did what I could say my best by then, to give you my attention, and to make sure that I could accommodate you in whatever that I was planning to do, or what I'm trying to do. So I think I did what I could call now my best at the time.
So now that you know what you know now, do you think that you would be better suited to do the job or not?
Having the experience and the info that I have now, I think it could have been easy to do, but being that person, it wasn't easy. It's easy to look back and say, yes, I could have done this different, but I wouldn't say that if I didn't do it then, it's because maybe I didn't think of that. Maybe it was not in my mind. I could say anything to that, but I cannot change what happened. And so, knowing what I know now, I could probably avoid a million things that happened. But unfortunately, I did not. And so, I take that as lessons, and I learned from that.
Okay, last question. At what point did you realize you couldn't or wouldn't be able to be adequate? Do you think that you had signs before that point? And if so, why did you continue to engage?
Yes, I had signs. I had signs from the beginning. You told me multiple times, like, yo, like, if you can't stand this, just, it's okay, like, just walk away. I'm like, no. Like, in my head, I'm like, all she needs is just some love. She needs some love, and that's what I kept on telling myself. And so, they were signs from the beginning. But again, moving forward, what really threw me off, it was in between. There were things that you could react about anything and everything, and you know, you could always point at something that was not working out right to your best version. You could say, this is not right. Then the way I would look at it, I'm like, well, this is just one thing that is not correct, but the rest is good. So let's be thankful for what we have, what we're working on, what we have. What we don't have, we can fix. And so it kept on and kept on coming. So I said, okay, how about next time when you have things to discuss, tell me what's the situation and maybe suggest how we can able to solve it. Because you're telling me what you don't like, it puts me on a situation to figure out how to do without reading your mind or how you want it to be fixed. So I said, how about when you bring that, just suggest how you want to be fixed. And so, but what really took it to the next level, it was when you went to the retreats. When you told me the message and about the cards that were played, the first thing that came to my mind, like, okay, so who am I in this picture? Like, who am I and what am I doing here? And that took me to a space whereby I wasn't expecting to be. I'm like, okay, so am I just here for a season, for a time? What am I doing here? So what is my purpose anyways? So it took me back again to say, okay, what is it? I understand you already know your message, you have your message, who this person is going to help you, how to evolve. Then I took it upon myself, I'm like, how am I fitting in all this? And so for a season, maybe summer, maybe winter, but that's probably who I am. But again, I didn't really, after that, I didn't really see how I can able to catch up to that. And since I felt like I was detached to you emotionally, I just felt like there was any point to continue. Because I thought you couldn't really appreciate the small things that we had going on. And so in my head, I'm like, okay, so what's the point of doing this to someone who doesn't see it? And so that added to that. It's okay, if you can't really appreciate the little things, when the big things will come, I don't think you'll be in the capacity of acknowledging them, even seeing them. So that was the point where I was mentally and emotionally detached. One last question for you. From scale 1 to 10, what was sex like?
You know, I was laughing, right? I was laughing and you know where I was going with that, right?
Right.
Okay. On what basis?
In general, what was sex like? From scale from 1 to 10, how do you rate it?
I'm just taking in all the different elements, you know, like this is a big question.
Right.
Okay, so I mean, this is really interesting for me because you know that when we had met, like not only was I doing the dating apps for the first time, you know, I was like on a sex and relationship frenzy, right? I was just like, I want to learn everything I need to learn. And I think that when I had met you, we had this conversation that I was seeing before you really opened my mind to this whole different world of, you know, pleasure and sexuality and feeling things in my body and the whole thing. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, honestly, like, cause since then and then before the union, I feel like a lot of the reason why I had experienced the things that I did with you was because you really created that space like you had mentioned, right? So you took the time to understand me, you kind of like mind fucked me, if you will, right? So like you got inside of my mind, inside of my veins, and you really took the time to understand the machine, right? To really oil it and you know, screw in the screws where they needed to be and polish it, you know? So I feel like all of that care that you put into it really helped to make the experience that much more elevated. And obviously, you know, I had done things that I had never done before. And it was just a safe space to explore and experience things that I hadn't up until that point. So, I mean, if we're gonna go 1 to 10, I would give it at least like an 8, 8.25. 8.25. Because there's always area for improvement. Yeah.
All right.
You like that? You happy with it? All right, cool. All right.
You got one for me?
Yes, I do. So, You know that 4-letter word?
Yeah.
The one that all girls want to hear?
Yeah.
So tell me about the moment that you said it to me, and tell me what that was like for you.
To me personally, I take time to say that to anybody that I care about, or someone that I'm in a relationship with, because I just feel like it is now being used as anything and has lost its meaning. And so for me to say that to someone, that I have to be confident and knowing what I'm doing and we are on the same page. And I did not do that for sometimes. I think it took me 2 months to say that. But the reason why I brought myself to say it, I've been hesitant to say it. But when I said it, I said it because I feel like it was important to let you know that. And when I said it, it's because I meant what I said. And we were at my cousin's birthday, Cedric. And so you had a trip to go out of town the next day. And then so when you're going out, and then I told you that I love you. And I said it because I know how long I've been waiting to say it. And I knew what I said. And when I said it, because I know how important it is to me. So when I said it, I just don't say it to make you feel good. I say it because I feel like I have responsibility to live by that. You know, it takes a fraction of a second to say I love you to someone, but it takes almost a lifetime commitment to live by that, to prove that to someone. And so that's how I felt like, you know, if I'm to say this, I have to be sure about it. And so that's how it meant to me. Did it answer your question?
It did, but I mean, I have another question after that question.
So a bonus of a bonus question.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Just trying to throw it all in there. Okay, so last question. Was it real?
100% yes. It was.
How do you know?
I think I felt it. Even though you cannot see someone's heart, but knowing myself, I felt it. Because I see how much we're bonding, and the way I approached you. I think it was in the right direction. It was honest, and I meant it because I knew how much I felt about you, and so it was real. So tell me, you know, is there anything you could say to people out there, anybody who is watching this, or even listening to this? People, these are experiences we experience in our daily lives, you know, breakups and everything. People go to breakups and everyone goes their own ways, and, you know, is there anything you can be able to, you know, share out there with anybody that is probably watching this?
So interesting you asked this question, because of course, you know, not a lot of people know that, you know, I do what I call wild woman wisdoms. And of course, my book is all about, you know, matriarchy and being a wild woman and having a sense of pride, presence, and productivity, all the different things. But I'm sure you've noticed this in the dating world. Everyone's like, he's a narcissist. He's a narcissist. And it's like bad.
Right.
But I would really encourage people to not point their fingers, but instead understand that you are the common denominator and that you are the only one that can actually change and improve yourself. So instead of putting the focus on other people, it's looking inward and being like, where am I fucking up, right? So for me, when I looked at that, our relationship, you had said something to me that really stuck with me, which was, you said, no matter what I did, and nothing I ever did was good enough for you. So I was like, yo, like, what's wrong with me, right? So I went down this journey to find out, you know, what are my attachment styles, right? And so what that means is the way that we were brought up, the way that we were nurtured as children, whether we were left to soothe ourselves in our cribs or, every time we cried, our parent came to, take care of us, that all molds us and who we are when we are adults. So what I found out about myself was that when it came to women, I had what you call a fearful avoidant attachment, which meant that my caregiver, my mother, wasn't always there for me. She wasn't and couldn't provide things that I needed them. So I always felt needy and like I always hungry.
Right.
With men, it was a dismissal avoidant type, which means it's kind of like whenever a man would say something to me, it's like, why are you even talking, right? Like I kind of just threw men away like they were all cowards or whatever. And that was all, this all spills over into our adult life and how we deal with opposite sex, the same sex. And so now that I know this about myself, I can see myself in where I was negligent for loving you because I wasn't able to love myself that way. So I feel like it's very important for people to understand themselves and to really understand what their partner needs, right? It's having those crucial conversations to be like, wow, this is how I need to be loved. What do you need from me? Rather than, acquiring another person to fulfill all of your needs for you, because it's dangerous. It's poison, right? So that would be my biggest suggestion, is to seek help and really understanding themselves before engaging and then pointing fingers at other people for them to be that source of love when that should be within you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Do you have any advice?
You said it all, but I just think as adults, we two people coming together, to exhibit the affection and the feelings for one another, and if things don't work out, at least that person taught you something that you did not know, and therefore you should really still treat them. I'm not saying you should be friends, but be friendly with them at least, because they've played a major role in your life at some point, and so why should you just dismiss them like that because they're, but as adults, I think we need to do better. Yeah. Thanks for making the time. You're a busy man, so thanks for coming through.
Salut les amis, hello friends, this is Hakiza Frank. I'm going to be frank with you. Subscribe below for more videos. Thank you for the courtesy of your time. Merci beaucoup et à la prochaine.